All right, so then I'm going to move this out of the way. All right, so, Kelly, what you're going to do is legs are going to be out straight. You okay with that?
Yep.
Do you get discomfort when you do that?
It's not comfortable.
So we already yeah. So we already have some stuff that we're already looking at that are going to give us a little more information. One being, if she can't straighten her legs out here, we're probably missing some type of hip extension, right? And I'm getting it from putting it back there. What you're going to do is I'm going to move your limbs through some ranges of motion. All right. You're going to tell me if A, something hurts. B, if it doesn't hurt but like doesn't feel right. Kind of like I put you in a position you're like, it doesn't hurt, Tommy, but like I don't really want to be there very long. And then the last one's like, yeah, it feels like some stretching in some areas, and just going to kind of point to where it stretches. Okay? So you're going to let me have this leg. Let it go as loose as you can. All right? And remember, we're looking for, as I'm bringing this limb through some motion, do I see other things start to move with it? Yeah. Yep. Like right off that. And like that's not even 90 degrees pretty much. What do you feel when I'm doing this? You get pressure anywhere or anything like that?
You're pushing on here, but that's it.
All right. So it feels already a little stiff. Right? I can, right there, it's already getting some resistance. What happens when I go out here? Nothing?
Just right in the hip.
Yep. All right, and when I bring you up and in? Nothing? So maybe 90 degrees. All right, so anything past that. What about this one?
It doesn't hurt, but I wouldn't stay there.
All right, so as I bring her over here, I can see this other side start to move too. And then what about that one?
It's just odd feeling.
So not bad, no discomfort, but again, we've got barely 90 degrees of hip flexion, maybe 30 degrees of hip extra rotation, and maybe 10 degrees of hip intra rotation. But no pain. All right, good. So straighten this one out. Let's see this guy. All right, so right off the bat, as soon as I bring this up, it deviates hard out to the side. Right? I'm not even pushing, it just wants to go out there. So what is that an indication of? Where does the pelvis have to be if this femur's coming up and it's going to push it out to the side further? It's got to be really far forward, right? And tilted into that position.
It's what?
It's in space. All right. Do you get any discomfort when we do that?
Oh, just a little bit, yeah.
In the front of the hip?
Right here,
Yep.
yeah.
And again, that's another really good indication. Because it's tilted forward, I'm running up into the front of it really quickly, right? So I'm compressing that space really fast because there's no room in there. All right. What about when we go this way? All right. So this feels like a little bit more than the other side, but why would it be more? Yeah. Right. So I'm like this, which is going to magnify that leg out to the side, right? She doesn't have it. Yes, she doesn't have it. So if it's forward like this, right, I can't get any more into rotation because it's jammed forward, which means it's got to get compressed on the front side. But because it's also oriented that way, it's going to run into that really quickly. But if I bring it out to the side, ooh, I got room out there, and now I got more space. All right, so if we should expect less IR on this side, that's like 0. You feel that like hard stop? Yeah, that's it running into your hip. So here's good news. All that stuff's kind of normal.
Okay.
All right? And not unexpected based on what we went through your injury history. Okay, so legs are out straight. Feet together. Toes are curled back to your shins. Keeping your legs as straight as possible. Lift one leg up as high as you can. And what do you feel with that?
Right here and then my back.
Good. Bring it back down. All right? Try that same thing on the left side. All right? What do you feel with that one?
No, right here.
In your calf. All right. I'll remember that stuff. We'll come back to it. Because I want to. I know you're not comfortable on the floor, so I'll try to get you off as quick as possible. All right. So let me see the shoulder. You okay just hanging out in that spot? So that's not bad, but is it real? Like, it can't be, right? I mean, we have 0 hip internal rotation on that left side. How does she have almost like a lot of hip or shoulder internal rotation on that side? And this is the side that we also already have some stuff that she had to get a cortisone shot for. All right, and let's see you go. Can you let it rest on the floor? That's actually not bad. But again, it can't be real because we know we don't got it on there. You feel it pulling on the front there. Yep. What do you feel there? Anything? Okay.
So if you're saying it's not real, but I'm seeing you do it.
It's not.
Be jacked up this way, right?
Yes.
Would help her.
Correct. We have a huge orientation that is
Something else.
yes, that is giving her the illusion like she can get there.
But I'm not seeing it happen.
No. So like the big thing is like it. So right now you saw that left arm go and this one go pretty far. She'd be like, oh wow, her shoulder actually moves pretty well. But if you were to tell her to go overhead, do you think she should be able to get there? So what it gives us the false impression is that, oh, she should have full shoulder capabilities, and any exercise we choose should be on the table. But we should be mirroring what we see on that same side hip. And from what we already know, right, we've got these things that are really oriented into space in one way. It's a false representation of range of motion. It's not relative. So what she's got, most likely, is a rib cage that's like kind of turning back in like this on that left side, which allows us to go back, right, and also spin kind of forward too, because there's space there. But if we were to load that, probably not going to like it at all.
So you didn't do the overhead.
We're gonna. I like the one that Doug showed, so I've been using that one more. And what do you feel on that one? Anything?
Her shoulder doesn't hurt.
Good. All right, and same thing. Let this one go back. Yeah, so about the same on this side too. I felt that. And anything on this one?
It's just differ.
Yeah. Okay. And again, like I can bring her across, but like I don't want to push it further. All right. So, Kathy, you're gonna bend your knees. Yep. So feet are flat on the ground, hands are by your side, palms are up. So I want you to keep these hands turned open as high, like as much as possible. I want you to keep this space pressed into the floor as best you can. Awesome. Arms are going to stay straight, and you're going to start to bring your arms up and over your head. As soon as you feel like your hands are going to turn in, or your elbows are starting to bend, or this is starting to come off the floor, you stop.
A lot of direction, huh? This arm hurts.
Yep. Okay. Good. Relax. Where do you guys think we would have stopped her?
Right here.
Yeah, I probably almost right below her chest line is like where you start to see a hand start to turn. The other thing too is, so we can even see if I take your arm here, what happens when I bring it into your side? You good there? Mm-hmm. All right, and then let's slowly bring you up. You okay with that?
Right, that's about as far as I can.
All right. So that kind of confirms a little bit of like, I got to have this all the way in to even really kind of start the test. And if you notice, she's got here, but her hands are like way out here and coming up, and then it's going to start to turn a little bit back. So you remember when you're like, man, I can't even hold my arms out past this point? I can see why, right? And this is another reason why we're using some of these other things to confirm it. This crap is not real, right? Like we
Can you
can't.
explain the chest too, like the rib cage? You're saying?
Turning?
Yeah.
So what we probably have
I just wanna think it
is a hip that is,
through. Yep. To the left.
Yep.
So what?
so I'm out like this, and then I've got a rib cage that seems to be bilaterally tilted backwards.
Okay.
All right.
So
remem-
it's not tilted like that.
so far, I don't know.
Okay.
Remember when you said you were talking about your posture? Like, I got to sit like this all the time? Probably not helping.
Oh.
All right. Mainly because, like, your posture isn't probably bad. All right. What you probably are seeing is an overcompensation for this, like this. You see how my head is back now behind me? You see how now I'm centered over my legs? So if we were to bring this back underneath you, instead of staying here, now this might kind of start to level out a bit. You are not a spring chicken, right? So, but what we're saying though is that stuff going to change like magically? Probably not. right? Because you've been probably doing some of these things unconsciously yeah. So we also have to keep in mind is like, well, what are we going to actually be able to maybe have an influence on? Ideally, we're going to try to influence some of this space and how you get that like discomfort right below like that low back area. But I would say what probably is the biggest contributor to that is kind of sitting on the edge of a seat and sitting up straight. All right? Okay. So last one, point to where your ribs split.
Were they split?
Yep. So like you can see mine.
Yeah.
Yep. So good. You can make the V shape that they form. Yep. Do you care if I put my hands in there?
No.
Okay. So hands up to the ceiling.
My hand?
Yep. All right. So you're going to give me a nice breath in. Yep. And then blow it all out. Good. Go again. Yep. And then blow. One more, guys. That's pretty good. Good. All right. So I would say pretty dynamic, right? I kind of like to go up a little bit and then come down, which might be an indication of maybe we are using these guys a little bit. The other part, too, is we have a little bit of like a rib flare at the bottom, right? So you can feel a pretty pronounced rib cage at the very bottom. That usually means we're getting a little bit of that, which if I've got someone that's super compressed here, that's usually what's going to happen. Narrow or wide?
I'd say the top part. Close to wide.
She's a narrow.
She is?
She's a narrow.
Even when she gets that wide at the top.
So you're
You only do it when you close.
no. So like you're looking at their starting resting point,
Okay.
right? So like when you measure Paul,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no.
it's like starts out here,
But
right?
he also doesn't.
He doesn't close that well either, right? But he's also not the dynamic rib cage
Yep.
as well as we want. So like that's we're gonna start kind of like this part. Okay,
Oh, because you started more out, you started more in here with her
Kath, can I put my hands on your ribs again?
coming in and out. Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
if we look at her,
Gotcha. Okay.
she is just kind of like right at that like 90 degrees.
was more doing this is indicating why, but
No.
that's more dynamic.
That's more dynamic. So go ahead, give me a breath in, Kathy. Right, and then it opens up,
But that's like,
and then close it. So blow, 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 blow. Yeah. All right.
gotcha. But if you started out here,
Yes.
gotcha.
All right.
So the dynamic is just.
The dynamic is the movement. Can it open and close?
I haven't seen somebody go that from narrow to that wide, though.
All right, Kath, come on in. Well,
But you see
so
more people.
so here's the other thing too is that a hyperinflation because we have a compensatory strategy someplace, right? Because I can't get air to move posteriorly, do I have to drive it up and forward, which is going to really expand the front side? Yep. No, I'm not going to make you read anything. All right, let me make a couple notes here.
Listen, you should see what happens when we do it on each other. We're all a mess, too. It's just
Sounds like dumpster fire. I forget what he said.
That's what you said.
I forgot what he said. I forget what he said.
Okay, so come on over here. We're going to go feet together. Legs stay straight. Go down and touch your toes. Good.
I used to be able to touch it, but I can't.
Can you face that way and do the same thing again? Does this move at all? Does this? Yeah. All right. So what do you feel when you do that?
Right here.
Yeah, right. So again, we're looking at a segment from like basically this whole spot here that is not flexing whatsoever. You might, so here's the thing is sometimes you could potentially say like, oh, she might be a wide ISA because normally wide ISAs are more prone to having an actual kyphosis because they're getting smushed so front to back, right? And they have a lot more compression in that lumbar space that they're actually getting jammed forward and then do this. Whereas like a narrow usually has a much flatter T-spine. Right? If they're getting pulled down in the front here, these things are actually more almost straight down than they are like curved in lordosis. So again, but I would still probably put it more towards the narrow. All right. So now go feet shoulder width apart, hands out in front, feet stay flat on the ground, squat down as deep as you can.
My ankle won't bend, let me bend.
All right, good. Then you can relax. That's it. You can relax. All right. So let's get you seated right here, and let's just check a couple more things. So let me see you kind of move your foot.
This ankle?
Yep. Do you care if I move it? What do you feel when you do that?
It's okay. A little sore on that side. That one's all right. It's okay.
When we turn it this way, you feel sore on the outer edge? So come on up. So we're going to do a couple dorsiflexion stuff, since that seems to be an also indicator. So guys, we're going to put your right foot up here, keeping the heel flat. I want you just to try to push your knee kind of as far forward as you can. What do you feel when you do that?
It's tight in here.
Okay. All right. Try the left one, just so we can compare. And what do you feel when you do that one?
Well, not like this one.
So go forward again. Make sure this heel stays flat. Yep. And where do you feel? Do you feel like stretching in the back, or you feel in the front?
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right.
On the right side, was it just a stretch or it was starting to?
All right. So, what is our first thoughts as to what we might try? We got a narrow ISA. We've got pretty limited hip range of motion. We have very limited hip flexion. All right. So, is anything seated necessarily going to be our best choice right off the bat? That brings our knee up into this position. Probably not going to work so well. We have very limited ankle dorsiflexion on that side. Can we squat her or split squat her? So where are we gonna go?
You talking like workout or like?
So here's our first start. What might we want to try to see if we can improve first? Out of all the assessment stuff, where might we want to go first?
I would say pushing her back, getting the breath.
And what would that improve as one of her tests that we did?
The hips.
Toe touch. Most likely toe touch. All right, that's probably going to be where we're going to see our best improvement. We probably aren't going to see that much with a squat because we don't have the ankle range of motion just to even go there, right? But it doesn't mean we can't use like a version. So as long as we don't tax the dorsiflexion, we could potentially put her in something a little bit more like that. That might get her to sit back and feel some quads. But my first thought is probably like a standing cross connect. All right. We could also put her.
Even with the,
So we're going to probably support the front leg.
okay, so
Right.
maybe like on a box or something.
Yep. All right. Can we put her in half kneeling? Nope. Right. We'd have to really either block her up very high, or no, we'd probably have to block her up very high. But even still, that might not be okay because if we have to put that foot into that position, it might not be comfortable either. So realistically, if we're going to keep her standing, we've probably got to keep her in some type of single leg stance, step ups, standing cross connects, maybe even like a single leg press. We could try a hamstring curl. Again, I don't know if it's a good position because she's already in that spot. If we were to keep her on the floor, where might we go?
Well, I would do something with rolling
to shift.
Yeah. Something like that.
Would we go 90-90 on like a box? Like 90 hamstring? Maybe not, right? We got to get her into that kind of hip flexion.
yeah.
That might be too much, and that's more of an IR bias position. Supine hook line.
Yeah, why not?
So we might do supine hook line. Might be a good place to start and see if we can start to get it to reach and kind of open that space up. Where do you guys want to start first? Kathy, where do you want to start first?
I don't know.
Well, I don't think
Start
that's
with standing,
only because she had difficulty
Yeah.
on the ground.
All right, so that's the first thing. That's another part to it. It's like, do I want to put her back on the floor? No. Let's try to keep her up.
Standing cross.
So let's go with a standing cross connect. All right, so Kath, come on over here. We're going to go. Actually, you know what? This will be easier this way. So what you're going to do. All right, we're going to hold this one just for support if we need it, and then we're going to bring this other elbow in front. Okay? Now, I don't need you like crunching down. I just want you to kind of reach the elbow out in front, and then almost, you see how I almost like push this behind me? And I want you to shift your weight onto this leg and get it as straight as you can. Yep, so I want as little weight, so I'm going to move this forward for you a little bit. Okay, so go ahead, put that foot back up there.
Okay.
All right, I want as little weight on this leg as possible.
Oh, okay.
So all your weight is going to be on this leg.
Okay.
Now keep this leg as straight as you can.
Okay.
Yep, and I want you like pushing down through the floor almost to get you tall. All right, so if we're looking at this, where might we give her a coaching cue? I'm just going to tighten your pants up so they can see. All right, so Kathy, what I want you to try to think about is putting more weight. You're going to straighten this leg out and almost push more weight back towards your heel. Yep. That make a difference?
Yeah.
That feel kind of weird? Or
Yep, I'm
yeah?
going to fall. No.
All right. Do you feel this leg doing any work?
Leg?
Yep.
A little bit.
All right, so here's what I want you to do. Hold that elbow back up there. Shift your weight back into that whole foot, right, without leaning back. Pick this leg up. Just hold it for a second. Now do you feel that leg doing a lot more work? Do you feel the front and kind of butt here, or do you kind of feel something different?
No, right here.
Yeah, good. All right, now again, I want you to keep pushing this knee back behind you a little bit. Yeah, right there. Give me 2 easy breaths. Good, and then relax. How hard was that?
It's hard.
Spin around, try the other side. Yeah, you got that. You figured it out. All right, so don't worry about picking the leg up first. Let's see if we can get this guy lined up where we want. How does this one look? All right, so same thing. I want you just to feel your weight shifting backwards a little bit.
Yeah, like my toes are off the ground.
Okay, so still keep that big toe, then you're good. You got the position. Try lifting that leg up a little bit. Yep. You feel this guy working?
Yep.
Give me 3 good breaths. Good, relax. How hard was that one? How hard was that one?
Yeah. It's hard on this leg.
Yep. Come on here. Let's go feet together. Legs stay straight. Go down, try to touch your toes again.
Oh.
Does that feel easier?
A little bit.
Did you guys see?
Do anything different though?
Back didn't do anything. Did she go down further?
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks smoother?
Yeah.
Yeah. She wasn't like,
Get up. It was
Yeah.
where I noticed it. Like last time, she kind of like was very guarded.
yep,
getting
you
up.
know. All right. So let's hammer the crap out of that for a second and see if we can start to facilitate some other stuff driving there. What do we? Do you guys notice anything about her breathing? I'll give you a hint. Exhale. Long or short?
I didn't hear it. So,
Yeah, that's
it was
Oh, you
short.
want me to- well,
So that's it right there. Right? You cut it off immediately. All right. So we're missing some of that. So if I don't get a full exhale, where's my next inhale going to go? I got to create room. Yeah.
Well, every time she was breathing in, I saw the shoulders going.
Okay. Yeah.
Isn't that more of a wide characteristic where you're
Could be.
inhale?
when you have enough compensatory strategies, right, stacked on top of each other, you got to find space, right? So it almost seems like she's got remember, narrow is a exhaled compensatory strategy on top of, an inhaled compensatory strategy on top of it, whereas the wide is the exhaled, right? So what we got is a rib cage that's getting pulled down and creating the narrower space. Especially in her case, she got some pretty decent movement, but we just kind of confirmed, is it fully dynamic to where we're going to get her more space and more room? Probably not, right? Should she maybe have the capacity to do so? We're going to find out.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Kathy, which leg felt better? Like which one you're like, ooh, I like the way that muscle feels like kicking on, right or left leg?
This leg.
Standing on your right leg. All right, so we're going to face this way. All right, and I want you to kind of hit that position, hold the leg up. I'm going to get my breath in through my nose easy, and then I'm going to count like to 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you're good. Yep, so you're just going to reach this elbow forward a little bit. We're going to straighten this leg out as best we can. Yep, you're going to feel weight in this whole foot. And you're going to give me a good breath in, and then blow it out. Keep blowing, keep blowing, keep blowing, keep blowing, keep blowing, keep blowing. Good. Easy inhale. Blow. Pause for 2 seconds at the end of this exhale before you breathe in. 1, 2. Shallow inhale. Yep, blow. Same thing, pause at the end. Just smooth inhale. And then blow. Keep feeling this leg pushing through the floor.
That is
Good. Relax.
the burning.
Try your toe touch again.
I'm dying to touch the floor.
We're close.
About
We're close.
4 inches. I don't
All
know
right.
if I can grow that
Pretty
much.
much. Well, so what would we potentially maybe do to try to get some flexion back into that space?
Getting the pelvis back into
Position, right? So that's going to be part of it, right? Is
where you're like in there.
like a sink squat hold position, sitting backwards. So here's the thing: is like, are we missing a little bit of going after something? Like we're missing something up top here we haven't really addressed yet. What if we try something to open up this space up here? Because we know that if the upper back is compressed, this is compressed as well, right? So this is where it's like, all right, let's try something up top and see what happens. We got like it looked better just by getting the hip underneath her, right? And you felt some stuff working. Let's go over here. All right, so you're going to grab onto the handles here. We got to be careful because what I don't want you to do is that and just feel your ankle. So you're going to sit back just a little bit and more, almost like, you see how I'm letting my upper back go behind me? That might be as far as you go. If we can, we want to go down until we feel our legs kick on. Go a little bit wider with your feet. All right, give yourself a nice stance. All right, and then you're just going to, so kind of sit that back first. Yeah. Right there, hold that for a second. What do you feel?
The top of my legs.
Good. You feeling stretching up here?
A little bit. More like right here. My back.
Is it painful or stretching?
Not painful, but I can feel it.
You ready? So give me 3 breaths like you worked on before. Keep blowing, and then pause before you take your next inhale. You got one more. These feeling okay?
Yep.
Good. Come up out of it.
That made it go away.
The breathing.
Yeah. Crazy.
Wow.
So magical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, it's not magical.
So we're going to do it one more time.
Okay.
All right. How 1 to 10, 10 being like, Tommy, I couldn't hold that like one more second. 1 being easiest thing I've ever done. What was that at?
Oh. Maybe 5, 6.
Get it to a 6. Like get it to like a 6 plus. Don't go further than that. But you're gonna maybe so what that probably is like 4 to 5 breaths.
Okay.
All right, just like you did, because that was perfect. Yeah, I love it. Yep, keep blowing it out, and then pause before you take your next inhale. Come look it over here. What I want you to look at is this space right here. All right, and what do you notice? Raise back. So remember when you're asking like which way is the ribs turning? This is back further. All right, so you've got a posterior delay because that's where she's breathing into. So another good one we can try. Good. Come on up, superstar. How'd that one feel?
No, what's sticking out more than the
Don't you worry about anything.
This side.
Okay.
All right, so what we're looking at is the body's going to tell us kind of where things are moving in space. So we've got like a pelvis that's like going like this, but we got a rib over here that's doing that. All right, try your toe touch one more time. Let's see if it changed anything. Hey, great job.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, just wait till you show the kids.
All right, so time
Now,
out.
so is that
Hang
going
on.
to stay like that till
No.
tomorrow?
Did you,
No.
hang on.
Yes, you gotta keep doing those exercises.
Yes.
Did your ankle hurt when you jumped around like that?
No.
No.
No, it doesn't. It's weird. You know what? I could go all day and it won't bother me. Then all of a sudden, it's like, ugh, like somebody's putting a vice on it.
Gotcha.
I don't know why that happens.
It could be because all this other stuff is getting to the point where it's like, we got no more room, right? And now because everything gets jammed so far forward, that's got no more room either, right? And that would be my first guess. Right? Okay, so what do we like about what we just did?
Everything.
Yeah.
Well,
And her excitement.
Well, I like the ease of her being able to replicate these at
Yeah.
home without having to get down on the floor.
you know what sucks? We didn't get that on camera because that's facing that way.
Yeah.
But you see how quickly we decided really fast where we're going to go, where we're going to start, what options we have. Here's another good one we can try. Let's go try a wall-supported reach. Same idea, and then see if we can maybe turn her to the left and open up this space, right? Because the right rib hump is usually because we got a compressive force on that left. Right? Come on over here.
What do you call this one again? Wait,
Sink squat?
sink squat. Do you make this stuff up as
Nope. Nope. All right. So the other thing too is remember what we've got in all these cases. Okay. In each one, what are we really trying to accomplish with her position? Are we trying to move her forward, move her back, stay in the center? We're trying to move her backwards, right? And we have to be mindful because if we put her in a late propulsive foot position, that ankle might not like it. You know what? Just for shits and giggles, show us a squat. Because maybe that's changed too. We don't know. All right.
Stiff. I don't know. This is real stiff.
So, it looked a little bit better than the first one, right? So it's not. The more we keep hammering this, I almost expect that to get a little bit better. What we could test too is as we keep going this round, what was really going to probably be our best indicator is if that ankle starts to move in that dorsiflex position. So like if we were to talk about other assessment protocols like the SFMA, the stuff we did way back in the very beginning, like the PRI assessment and those things, they test that all the time too, right? It's just like, it's kind of like the last chain. No, I shouldn't say it. It's just like it's not close to the pelvis to necessarily sometimes give us a good idea. But in this case, it's probably really important to us because we have structural things that have changed down there, and it's like the thing that limits her the most. All right, so what you're going to do. Right off the bat with my feet here, what are we putting in her for a foot representation? So we already know we should have decent room to do stuff, right? So if you think about all the stuff we did over there, we put her kind of in a middle bias towards early, right? And that should keep her out of it because like that's not middle because all my weight is behind me. I'm not putting force straight down through it. But it's enough to hold me up so I'm in a little bit more of an early bias. The cross connect actually is middle, right? We're trying to shift her back a little bit, which might be, again, a little bit biased towards an earlier propulsive phase, but that's as close to middle as we're going to get. Maybe that's why that one didn't work as well, because we need to bring it early all the time first. Feet are about shoe length away. We're going to reach the bands out. Okay? I'm going to bend my knees a little bit so that I can feel my heels. I'm going to reach my hands out, keep my mid-low back into the wall. Right? So like my butt, my mid-low back, and my upper back are kind of there. My shoulder blades are off, and I'm reaching out. And we're just going to hold that for a second. And so you're going to potentially have a hard time with this.
Just gonna have a hard time feeling how to get.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So now bend your knees a little bit. Yep. Now I want you to like crush my hand. How would you do that?
Not very easy.
So you ready? Move your feet forward a little bit more. Yep. So now what I want you to thinking about is you're going to take like your belt buckle and try and scoop it. All right. So keep trying to scoop it a little bit more. So you're going to roll your like almost like you're going to try to take your back pocket and let them get closer to your knees. Yeah. Right. So good. So relax. So again, we can't do this one. Right, so we don't have enough pelvic mobility in that space, or I should say lumbo-pelvic mobility in that space to actually get her to feel contact into the wall.
Is it still not worth
Trying?
attempting?
Um,
Only if it's uncomfortable or painful.
I don't think we're going to get like what we saw over there.
Yeah.
All right? Mainly because like you don't feel anything in that position really. So she's not going to get any other muscles to really help out as much, yeah. But, so let's go, come on over here. Let's play with a slightly different one. So we want to turn her to the left. That's it. Don't screw this up.
Oh, wow. My goodness.
So, actually,
See what
hang
we
on.
deal with.
You ready? You ready? So, hang on. We're going to relax for a second. I'm already going to say that's not going to work. What position really is my left foot in? Early or middle or late?
Almost late.
Almost late. It's probably in middle to late bias, right? We're using this arm to allow her to shift backwards, but it's probably too much of a like late propulsive bias. We could use a heel wedge to bring her back up into an earlier one, but what if we did this instead?
Yeah.
Same thing, but now I'm almost letting her pull it into it better. All right? You know what? And that's a great idea. Can you go grab the wedge? So we're going to try it without the wedge first. Right arm, right foot in front. You're going to shift your weight into your left leg. So you're going to feel pretty much most of your weight in your left leg. All right? If you had a laser from your belt buckle and my first button, you're going to let it turn, like let this turn you a little bit that way. All right? And you're just going to sink weight into that left foot. All right? So we're going to try it without the wedge first and see what happens.
Were they straight?
Yes, they were.
Okay, they were straight.
Yep.
Left leg.
Yep. So keep this arm straight.
Oh, she's screwing this up already.
I know. Who brought her? What do you feel?
Right there.
Yep.
Whatever that
There it
is.
is. All right.
But, you don't want me to stand there.
No, so I want you, right? So I want you to go right here.
Okay.
Take this arm. Reach that one out too. So bend both knees a little bit and just sink. Yep, right there. So now what I want you to do is you're going to bring this hip up and back a little bit. So straighten it up right there. You see where we got our motion from?
Yeah.
All right. So Kathy, relax for a second.
That hurts right there.
Yep. I'm going to put you up on the ramp,
Okay.
and you're going to do kind of the same thing. All right. So what I want you to think about is just straight back, just a little bit. So like, remember how you were on there? So you kind of do that just a little bit, but you're going to let it turn you just a hair. And this will kind of rule out some stuff for us to think about too. Yeah, like that's it. So you ready? You're going to bring your hips back a little bit. So now bend your knees just a little bit. Yep. What do you feel? Yep. Yep.
Not as bad as the
Nope. So you see how she went like that to lean back? So what that kind of tells us is we have to bring her probably straight back first, which is probably why that one works so well. Right? We can't turn her yet until we keep recapturing probably more of those motions. So what that might look like then, we can still do this. We're just going to be here. I want you just to pull. Okay? You know what? No, we're going to stay with that. And I'm going to keep you on the wedge. What I want you thinking about is keeping everything facing forward while you move your arms back and forth. Okay? So go slow. Keep feeling your heels. Let your knees bend a little bit. Yep. You feel okay with that? Mm-hmm. So now what I want you to do is when you bring it out, inhale.
Inhale on this one?
Yep, and then exhale and pull it back. Right, and we're keeping this guy, so this guy stays fixed.
Okay.
All right, so good. Start to move the arms, yep. So maybe don't go out that far because we don't want to drag this with it.
Okay.
Right, so go ahead, let the arms go out, inhale, yep, pull it back, exhale. Good. Keep feeling your heels, yeah, and keep your knees soft. Go 2 more, Kathy. Good.
Yeah, it's right there. It's right there.
What did you guys notice with where she was bringing her elbows? Right, she's trying to find space, and they're going way back here.
Like I can her shoulders up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So again, like remember we were talking about before, if she's trying to find some type of internal rotation or force, that's where it's going right off the bat. So where might we gonna have to put her for an upper body stop if that's gonna be kind of a challenge for her?
Would you do a hold versus a
Might be a really good idea.
instead of
Yeah.
a constant?
Yeah.
Then you can get her
Okay,
to
hold
relax
on to
down.
that. Yeah, and then hang out in that position for a second. Again, keep circling back to like, why did this maybe work so well? Ooh, yeah, we had a lot of things work at the same point.
Pull down.
Let's try it. All right, so this will probably be our last one.
Probably can't go too high.
Definitely can't go high, right? Do we want what is that pull down going to look like?
I'd have her hinge a little bit at the hips.
Why?
Um,
Could you do a short squat one?
yeah. With the top.
Yeah. So here's the thing is, I'm not disagreeing. I kind of like what you're thinking, right? Because we still have to move our hips backwards no matter what. So we could do this. What is the chop going to help her do? Like, what is the pulling that up going to help her do? So if I've got weight pulling me up, what is it going to help her do as she tries to sit?
Expand back here.
You're going to help her expand a little bit on the backside, but it's going to unload her enough too that she might be able to find it, right? So if she can't tolerate gravity itself right now because her strategy is to kind of go here, actually like this, but then come down, what if we give her a little assistant with some extra weight that's going to allow her to sit back a little bit, but also she's pushing down on the front side. It allows her to get a little bit more space. So we could use a hinge. We'll try both. What do you think's going to happen with her back potentially?
I don't know.
We don't know. Are we going to use the wedge or not?
Well, we didn't use it over there and it worked well, so I would just.
So
do
let's
that.
stay with it. All right. So, Kathy, what you're going to do? You're going to shoulders apart. All right. I want you to kind of bend your knees, and then you're going to stick your butt back behind you.
Okay.
Then you're just going to chop to like in between your knees.
Okay.
We're going to hang out there. You're going to breathe just like you've been doing. That was fantastic. I don't want you way down here, right? It's literally, if that's as far as you get, that is as far as you go. But what I want you to be able to feel is like weight kind of through the whole foot. If you had to, you could probably pick your toes up a little bit, but you don't have to.
Okay.
And as always, Kathy, don't screw this up.
Okay.
Yep. So arms are going to go straight down between your thighs. Yep. So like really kind of get them in there. Yep. Awesome. Good. Give me a couple breaths. And we're looking at the shirt. You see where all of our kind of hands are? Yep.
Yeah.
You okay in this position?
Yep.
You ready to start playing outside linebacker?
Oh, I think my toes are go out that way.
That's okay. I like where you're in. You should feel a little bit of like arms. That's okay. What are you feeling? Anything?
My wrists. No, but they always bother me.
My arms didn't hurt. My back didn't hurt.
That's good. See if that's any better. Yep. So think about reaching long down with the arms. Yep, without actually leaning forward. Good. You feel okay there? Wrist better?
Yes.
Good. How hard is that weight?
The weight?
Yeah. Come on up. Let's give you a little harder stuff. Okay. Well, so here's the thing is, all right, in some cases, if we're looking to recapture, you feel okay with that one? Mm-hmm. Give me 3 good breaths. If we're looking to recapture relative ranges of motion in terms of just pure like motion back, do we actually want to feel a lot of muscle tension? No, right? Because that means things are actually able to shift and move, and I'm not really getting a muscle fighting against it. But if I want to use stuff to actually shift her back, then she's got to feel that. What'd you feel with that one?
Yeah, my arms.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah.
Pull and those.
Try your toe touch. See if it's got any better.
We're rooting for you. Flat hands on the floor.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. That's still great.
Good. And roll back up.
Yeah.
That's great.
Is
All right.
it going to stay like that now if I go home?
Bother your shoulder at all?
That did not bother my shoulders.
All right.
No. This up like this.
Yeah.
Like right there.
Yeah. Remember, she has access. She has access to here. That's it. All right. Let's try the squat position a little bit. So now, let's give her the ramp and to see if this changes anything. So same idea, but this time I want you to stay a little taller. And you're going to kind of sit down just like that. All right? So my knees are going to go forward a little bit. And I'm going to kind of round my back a little bit and keep my hands almost like to my pockets. And this will be our last thing. Yep. So we're going to bring the chop down first. Yep, there you go. Yep. So now what I want you to do is kind of let your butt just scoop underneath. Nope, the other way. Yeah, there you go, right there. And keep feeling your heels. You okay with that? Mm-hmm. Keep your arms straight and long. Yep. You feel these guys working a little bit?
Yep.
You want me to jump on your back?
No. My thighs are burning.
Go 2 more breaths, just like you were doing. And then you can relax when you're good. Good. Come up out of there. All right. Try your toe touch again.
On here?
No, on the floor. Yep. Pretty good, right?
Oh, look at that.
Yes!
All right. So now let's play with one more thing. Try your squat on the wedge. Yep. So go up on the wedge, get your feet out there, and hands out front, and just squat down as best you can.
Oh my God. Kathy.
Wow, how come? Now, can I try it here?
Yeah, go for it.
How come I could do that?
Well, that helps you with your
Oh, it's
ankle.
better.
It's still way better. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
So what am I doing now? To keep
We're going to the bar. No.
Yeah.
All right. So what did we change? Like, what happened? Where?
Yeah, took the load off.
Yeah, right? So, I mean, we're pushing down here. We're probably getting some upper back expansion. If we're getting upper back expansion, we're probably getting some lumbar, lower rib expansion, right? Which one felt better, the hinge one or the squat one?
The squat one was, I think, easier.
So doing this one felt
Yeah.
better, and you felt your quads working.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one, you felt mostly arms. All right, go for it. What?
So can we write her a mini program that would include what's worked?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
All right. So, but let's unpack this for a second, because like, if you understand what you were trying to influence and why it supposedly, like why it happened the way we thought it might, you start to understand like, ooh, if I get a similar representation, here's where I might go right away. Right. So, I mean, you saw the squat with the wedge. So what does the wedge do right off the bat?
It's helping your ankle.
Yeah.
Early representation of the foot. It's like, boom, we just solved a lot of stuff, right? So right off the bat, if we're picking most exercises, I might just throw her on the wedge all the time because it's going to give us something back pretty quickly.
Right. Here, though, you still said you were mid.
Mid,
Totally
correct. Based off of that,
This gets
would we
better
would we not put the wedge underneath her on that? I would try it, right? Yeah, right? So what did this help her do that didn't?
Open up the back.
They both open the back, but it's assistance, right? So she's got 20 pounds of unloading because it's pulling her up. She's pushing down against it. There, she's still got her whole body weight, right? To some degree. Like she's holding on, but she's shifting backwards. So if we can unload her with an early propulsive foot, she's going to be able to recapture some stuff much easier. This is also why putting someone on the floor might be a good idea too, right? We're not fighting against gravity as much. We can put her on her back, put her in a supine cross connect, and maybe have her breathe just like she did. That might yield us the same stuff without really any load. Maybe we put her in a supine hook line. That might start to get her to tilt a little bit better, feel some hamstrings to hold on, and then she can do that stuff.
Could you do that on our table upstairs?
Yep. Right. What about a short squat position on the box, where she's pushing down on the box and then shifting backwards? Probably same idea as that one, right? Another decent variation you can play with. After watching that, did you get any ankle pain when you did that squat on the ramp? Could we potentially squat her? Yeah. Why not? What might be a really good squat variation for her? Box, right? Easy. Put her up in the box, have her sit, and then go back up and see what you get. Maybe even like a plate reaching squat. Help her shift backwards even further. What are the things we have to be aware of in stuff with her? Like what's probably something we're never going to touch? Probably something up top. We're probably not going to ever really get her up into this space. All right? Even though like what we could potentially still do is like a half kneeling pull down, but you see the angle I'm at? Right? She's probably not even going to be able to hold that, even though this is like it's unloading, right? It's actually distracting the shoulder, which technically should help her create some space. Pulling it down probably might not feel great. If we continue to open up these spaces, she might gain some stuff back. Then you might see it. This is like over a period of time. Like we're talking like months if you do stuff consistently. So like we may introduce things like that later, but for the most part, everything's got to be down in this space if we're doing any type of arm stuff, right? Or upper body, I should say. The other thing too is, would we necessarily hinge her a lot? Most likely not, right? Because it's going to force her to, get into that position that she's already a little bit braced against. All right? Doesn't mean we couldn't do something. It just wouldn't look like our normal hinge positions or loading patterns. You might be able to, again, what might actually work is something like this to unload her so she can find this back pocket and feel her hamstring that way, but that might be further down the road too. Right now, we know her money stuff is getting this pelvis to kind of come back underneath her, sit back, get her early propulsive foot, and breathe. Right? Make sense?
Yeah.
So what's cool is it narrows down our focus to what we can do. What is hard is you're going to do this stuff a lot for a while, all right, until we can start to come back and test some stuff. Do me one more favor. I want you to do this squat hold one more time, and then let's go check the dorsiflexion on the box. And then I'm going to have you try to get off the floor without the bench.
Oh, dear.
You showed us what you can do.
So hang on. Here's why. What was your goal when you came in?
Yeah, to get off the floor.
Right? So,
I will.
yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so you're going to scoop this underneath you. There you go. Keep feeling your heels. Yep. I want you to give me 4 good breaths. Arms are straight, you're pushing down.
My leg's gonna burst.
Good. So come on over here. Let's just check this first, right? And just see if that feels like it goes any further forward.
A little bit.
A little bit. Good. All right. Come on over here. Show me up and down off the floor. The bench is there if you need it.
Okay.
So come here real quick, because this is a good example of this stuff. All right, so now I'm going to try to, however you want to get up, get up. Can I make a suggestion? Yeah, so you need to get,
Nice.
that was good.
You jump up and down.
No, you don't jump down there.
Do it again.
Yeah, it's a little hard to get up and down.
Did we notice where her foot was when she tried to push off the floor on that right foot? Right there. Well, is that a late? Yeah, right? So she's in a really late propulsive position. Like, you don't have it. You need to be that foot out front. Even, so like what, and this is where what you're going to start to feel is those leg muscles doing some stuff. This should then feel easier to push off of. But right now, because she doesn't have a good position, like she doesn't have power to push through the floor without leaning really far forward, this is like, man, I'm in no man's land here.
We also teach it with our osteo people because, you know, if anybody has like osteopenia or osteoporosis to try to keep this safe, it's that little hinge and then step forward. That's kind of how they always with that little hinge. And
To keep what safe?
so you're not, when you're coming down, you're not arching the back, rounding.
So what do you think of that now? Like, what do you think of coaching this little hinge position?
You still have a.
You still do.
Back.
It is, right?
Yeah.
And so, you tell me which one looks better for my back. This one? Or that one?
First one.
So, in some cases, that would be our best bet. But most people don't have the capacity to push through that kind of mid-early foot in this back one's in this position to go straight up into like a split squat and come forward. So what they're actually, I wouldn't say it saves the back. In fact, we're getting a compressive force on the lumbar spine.
Yeah.
But is that an IR representation or an ER representation? Does it look a little more like a hinge or does it look more like a squat?
Or like a hinge.
Hinge, right? So I've tilted the pelvis down, I can get force into this front foot and I can push up much easier, right? But
She's always tilting forward. Why would we want her to do that?
so, and that's the thing is, like, it's gonna come at a cost in some people. So if I have someone that's got some degenerative stuff going on, realistically, what I want them to be able to do is use their legs. This is more of an ER position, and be able to come up and come out. Yeah, that would be like we're talking like metrics. I want you to be able to get that foot out in front, push up, and come out of it.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah. So like that would be, so like I have another client that comes in, her test every time she comes in is to get up and off the floor. And that gives us a good indication as to, A, how she's feeling that day, but also like, hey, we've been seeing progress. And what's interesting is we've been doing some of these chops and stuff like this for, I don't know, 4 months now. And it's like, Tom, I don't know if this is working. I don't know if this is working. I didn't know if it was working. She usually feels good on and off. It's Pat, right? Yesterday she came in and she goes, that's the best I've gotten off the floor ever. And I was like, ever. Because normally what happens is she gets into this, and then she's almost going, and she's got to bring that foot out to catch herself because she can't load on that one leg.
Yeah.
But I think because of a lot of stuff she's been working on, she's working on standing on a single leg stance. She's working on hold herself in a half kneeling. She's working on shifting back and all these things. They may add up over time, and now she can actually find that representation, push force, and then come up smoothly. She did it twice, but normally she doesn't do, right? And she she was very happy, but the big thing was like, even I saw, I was like, holy crap, like, that's really, really good. So those are the things that you're gonna like start to play with and be like, where am I at in terms of this progress? That's a really good indicator. Being able to touch her toes is a really good indicator. Does her hips move backwards when she was touching her toes? So we're getting motion back. We still don't have a really good weight shift back, right? So we probably need to get a little bit more in that too. You got all that?
Okay, yeah. Write it down.
Write it down. Yes?
If she's having trouble shifting the weight back, can you lift her toes?
So you can, right? We could lift her
Get her down
toes.
and
Yep.
just to start.
So we could also do another thing, right? Just another easy one. Go do your toe touch, but stay down there. So now bend your knees. Just keep feeling you're almost trying to shoot your hips back as far as you can, but your knees are going to stay bent. What do you feel when you do that?
I'm fine.
Good. Now what I want you to do is slowly roll up like one vertebrae a segment at a time. So you're going to keep pushing this up to the ceiling as you go up. Yeah, and then like slowly go. You can start to roll up off the floor.
Come up.
Yep, come up. So what we might start to work on is something like this. You see I've got a lot more flexion in the spine, and I'm going to... Yeah, and that might get her to start to sit back a little bit in that process. Because if I stay here, my only real strategy to come up is that, unless I bend my knees and shift my weight back. Make sense? Any other questions? Great job.